Welcome to the Trust Factor Radio, bringing you interviews and insights to unlock the power of the subconscious mind to create authority, credibility, and trust. With your host, the Authority Architect, and best-selling author, Neil Howe.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is your host, Neil Howe, and today my special guest is Phil Foriska. And Phil helps independent hotels, resorts, condotels, and hotel management groups gain more market share by maximizing search engine exposure and driving more direct bookings. Phil's been specializing in digital marketing for the past 10 years, and he has worked with clients in a variety of industries, but for the past 6 years, he's been focusing on hotels and the hospitality industry. And Phil is the marketing specialist at fueltravel.com based in Myrtle Beach. Phil, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Neil.
Well, tell us a little bit about what it is that you do for all these hotels and resorts and how exactly that you help them.
All right. So as you mentioned, we focus on independent hotels and resorts mostly. We do have some national flag chains, but where we excel the most is with independents. Basically, the idea is, the independent hotel doesn't have the same support as a national flag, such as Marriott or Hilton, backed by giant marketing teams and big budgets. Independent hotels don't have the same means. So that's where we come in, and we really help them with their marketing strategies.
So what exactly is it that they're looking for as far as marketing? What are they lacking in?
Most of the time, our new clients are lacking in a lot. It's kind of tough for an independent hotelier to be, front desk, general manager, guest services, as well as the marketing side. So Fuel steps in. We position ourselves as more of an arm of their marketing team. We try to really partner with them close, understand their marketing efforts, and really, become more of a partner than a vendor is the way we see ourselves and the way we operate.
So what kinds of things do you do for them as far as marketing, or what do they need as far as websites, like back-end software, booking engines? Do you do all that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. So we handle everything from building. Most of the time, the clients that come to us will need a brand new website. So we'll make sure that they have the proper domain, build out the website, optimize the on-site content. If they'd like, we do have a booking engine, which biased, but I still feel like it's one of the best booking engines in the hotel industry. But we can set them all up with that, and then the marketing efforts of continuing SEO and pay-per-click marketing, as well as some of the meta search efforts through Google Hotel Ads and TripAdvisor.
So what's working for, obviously these chain hotels have a huge marketing budget, and I don't really know too much about the hotel industry, but I imagine they're getting the majority of the traffic. How does an independent hotel compete?
So that's the difficult part, right? So those big chain hotels, like I mentioned, the Marriotts, the Hiltons, their domain authority in terms of SEO is going to be well outweigh an independent hotel website. So what we try to do is skirt around the edges a bit and pick off some of the traffic that maybe those big chains aren't focusing on from the SEO aspect. So that comes down to our content creation. We try to find areas, like I said, where maybe Marriott doesn't have content, where we know we can create some really compelling stuff to bring in some hotel guests that they might not normally get.
So can you give me an example of that? I know you're in the Myrtle Beach area. If you're working with an independent hotelier in Myrtle Beach, what would you look to do for them?
So with the Myrtle Beach area specifically, we like to focus on highlighting specific amenities that make a property unique. and to be fair, a lot of the properties in this area all share very similar amenities. So we need to really position, let's say, a hotel with an oceanfront water park. Well, that's a big selling point right there. So we can position that as, well, water park terms are searched pretty often. So we try to optimize those pages as best we can for those keywords. Keywords like kid-friendly hotels, we can capitalize on that as well. It's basically just finding those little outside, more long-tail search queries that we can really dominate the search results on, more so than a giant flag would worry about focusing on.
So how do you find all these long-tail keywords? Really,
it just comes from finding the property's differentiator. A lot of hotels will have, a few things that they do very well, or a few offerings that they have that others may not. And then it really comes down to keyword research, using Google's keyword planner, using other SEO tools like Moz and SEMrush will really give us an idea of where can we fit in the competitive landscape in a search result, and what we need to include in our content to make sure that we have the same thing or better than anyone else ranking for the terms we're targeting.
So are you looking for questions mainly when you're doing keyword research? Like, are people typing in questions that need answered?
More recently, we're seeing that in the past, SEO was more maybe 3-word search terms, like a Myrtle Beach hotels took up 90% of the searches we saw coming for area searches, and now it's more question based, and we attribute some of that to voice devices like your Amazon Alexas or Google Homes, even Siri on the phones. We're seeing quite a bit more of those conversational type queries come in. So yes, more recently we've been focusing on that, and we've been attacking that from structured data, the schema side, so the technical aspects of the site, including all of the appropriate schemas that we can throughout the site to mark up our content so that when search crawlers look through the technical side of our site, we're giving them the proper information and hoping that turns out a result in a question-based query. We've been seeing those type of queries throughout our PPC search terms report and within the queries in Google Search Console, increasingly longer and longer tail terms. And like I said, more conversational based terms as well.
Right. Can you go into that a little bit more, Phil, into a little bit more detail, and just explain to me and to the listeners what exactly schema is and what kind of Google is looking for, especially related to these voice search terms? Sure.
So schemas will sit on the back end of the site. They're not customer facing. Someone that visits your website is not going to see a schema markup. What we're doing there is taking something like we would use in our industry, we'll use the schema hotel markup. And within that markup, we can identify things like location, down to latitude and longitude, address, website URLs. And it gets even further down into, you can list out all of your hotel amenities, the different room types you offer. And marking that up with schema gives the crawlers a much better understanding of the content that's on your site. They're not just reading the text on the site, they're using this parsed out information so they can provide the best results possible for someone with a very specific query or a question-based query like we were just talking about.
So is it important nowadays for people on the websites to really answer as many questions as possible?
Absolutely. Like I said, as we see those type of very specific questions being asked, and a lot of them are directions to such and such hotel. We want to make sure that we have the proper address listed so it can pull that information, pop it right into a GPS and direct the person right there. So we're trying to create the most frictionless experience we can, offering the most information we can, and like I said, answer any questions possible.
And taking a jump right here from the actual website to Google My Business, what kind of opportunities are there for those independent hotels to show on Google My Business that might, have an advantage over some of the bigger chains?
The Google My Business it's extremely important for those type of businesses, especially when people are looking for, location. What's right nearby? If that content doesn't exist on your website, which it should, but sometimes it doesn't exist on the website, people can find what's nearby. FAQs is one of the biggest ones we see. And just a tip for the listeners out there, you can seed your FAQs within your Google My Business listing as the owner of the business. So you can basically ask yourself a question and answer it. So when people are saying, does this hotel have 4-bedroom suites? Does this hotel have a water slide? You can go ahead and seed those FAQs within your Google My Business and kind of stay on top of that, rather than making the guests ask you the questions. You can get right out in front of them.
So it doesn't have to be of course you got reviews, which are important.
Reviews are infinitely important in our business. We know that almost, I forget the exact percentage, but almost all people looking for a hotel will read reviews prior to booking.
Right. And like you said, in your industry, they're really important to where, these hotels have hundreds of reviews rather than, in some other industries, they might have, 4, 5, 6, 7. How do you get your clients to get all these reviews from their customers?
A lot of it is being personable, and especially for these independent hotels, being very personable with the guest that walks through the front door, being friendly, requesting a review after they've had a good stay. That's huge. Another portion of that comes from what we use is a post-stay email. So after a guest leaves the hotel, we send them an email and ask them how their stay was. And if they had a great stay, we request that they leave us a review. Some choose TripAdvisor, some choose Google, but we definitely want to get all the positive reviews that we can. And negative reviews are inevitable. You're going to have people who are not happy with their stay a lot of the time. So our advice to the hotelier at that point is go and reply to the person who left a bad review. Show empathy to them and apologize and point out the things that you as a hotel are going to do to make sure that the problem that happened to them won't happen again to another guest. It may not satisfy the guest who had the bad experience, but for the future guests who are reading your reviews, if they come across the bad one, they see that there is something being done so this doesn't happen to them.
So do you advise against trying to defend yourself?
In some cases, it makes sense. And to be fair, we're actually putting out a piece of content pretty soon that covers some of the best and worst responses to hotel reviews. Some hotels like to get funny with their responses when someone trashes the hotel and maybe it wasn't it wasn't accurate. But in most cases, it's defending yourself is more along the lines of how are you going to fix the problem, and not telling the reviewer they were wrong.
Right. I think you have to be very careful when it comes to defending yourself. It can very quickly turn into a spitting match, which you obviously don't want to air that in public at all. Best to focus on just getting more great reviews, and hopefully people understand that, like you said, inevitably you're going to get some bad ones here and there. So reviews are really important, and that was a great tip about the FAQs on the Google My Business page. What else helps rank the Google My Business and get right up there at the top of the searches?
Really, just having accurate information. You want your Google My Business listing to match your name, address, phone, website, everything that you're listing across the authoritative sites on the web. Well, you see this from local citation aggregators. We at Fuel use Moz Local. They allow us to input all of our business information, and then they disseminate that information across Bing, across things like, I believe, Hot Frog, some of the other major local citation websites for us. So what that enables us to have a consistent name, address, and phone from Google to all of those. I think that has been a ranking factor for quite a while, and I think that it will continue to be.
Right. So you've got to have all your hours and everything on the actual website, not just on the Google My Business page as well. Correct.
Yes, we see that, and in many hotel cases, these are 24/7 businesses. So hours, just making sure that they're listed and those hours are accurate. Like I said, across all the web, I think that is it's definitely important.
So talk to me about the content creation part of it. From my perspective, looking at these hotel websites, they all seem to have some kind of booking engine on them somewhere, and I don't really get too much further into it than that. What other kind of content do you put on the website that's going to make yours stand out versus everybody else's?
Yeah, so this is where we get a little creative with our SEO and keyword research. From the SEO perspective, we do a lot of area research. In particular, I'll just give you an example. We had a hotel in Albany, New York. It had a really popular bike trail that went nearby, and people rode this bike trail for days and days and days. And Albany happened to be one of the stops along the way. So we wrote an article all about the trail, about things to do when people who are riding the trail, things to do when they stop in Albany. And then we position ourselves with a package that says, hey, come stay at our hotel. We'll give you, free bike lockup. And I think there were a couple other things involved in that package, like complimentary water bottles for your next day, whatever it was. And so we hit people searching terms for that bike trail. And then we saw bookings come in through that where they're like, oh, okay, well, this is a good place to stay along our way. So this was one of those areas where they weren't getting any traffic before. They weren't getting bikers staying in their hotel. We basically opened up a new avenue for them to bring in business.
So SEO is definitely a large part of what you do. What other ways do you help these hotels get traffic?
Pay-per-click marketing in the hotel industry is huge, especially when it comes to your brand name. Now, a lot of industries, you don't necessarily have to bid on your brand name, but with the hotel industry, you're competing against Expedia, you're competing against Booking.com and TripAdvisor. So the hotels have to pay out like 15 to 20% commission to those type of sites. What we do from Fuel's perspective is we try to eliminate as much of that as possible, and we try to get people to book direct. And a lot of that comes from running pay-per-click on your own brand terms, not sending them off to those online travel agencies, keeping them within your little mousetrap. And it expands to non-brand as well. Like I said, things like hotels with lazy river in Myrtle Beach is not very costly in the PPC world, and it'll drive a lot of qualified traffic, and it does get a pretty good return on ad spend when you go those really long tail terms that your hotel can deliver on the promise, and you fit exactly what the searcher is looking for.
Yeah, take me inside the mind of the searcher right there when they're searching. Are they going to places like Expedia.com and, they might find the name of the hotel and then do a Google search for that hotel?
That's exactly how that works, Neil. So what we tend to find is those are what we consider the top of the funnel, the beginning of the process for a typical consumer. Is they'll decide on the area they want to travel to. Let's use Myrtle Beach. They type in Myrtle Beach hotels. They click on TripAdvisor. They start seeing some of the top properties or the properties that fit within their price range for the dates they're looking at. Then they'll visit the hotel's website. And that's where we need to make that process as seamless as possible. And that's, again, what we focus on at Fuel. We try to get them onto the property's website, get them to select the room they want, the date they want, and book as seamlessly as possible. But yeah, we definitely rely on the big sites to create some brand awareness for us. But ultimately, what we want them to do is come to our website to book rather than book through an Expedia or a booking.com.
And what things do you do on the website to get them to stay there and take action on that site?
So a lot of that, what we've seen some success with is you add things, and we're taking a page out of the Expedia book there, where you add things like that fear of missing out, right? So limited time offers, exclusive specials that you can only get through the hotel website.
Right.
Saying only 3 of these left from the dates you're searching. Those type of things, they add that urgency and it really it drives that fear of missing out. You don't want to miss that room during the time that you want it. So those little psychology tactics tend to work very well. Also, social proof. If you show reviews, if you show social media posts, somebody's Instagram feed of staying at your hotel. We have some of our hotels partnering with a company called Flip2 that does that very well, where they show some of the smiling faces around a hotel property. It just adds that social proof to someone that makes them feel comfortable with booking.
Definitely. I think that's what everybody is looking for, is that level of comfort. When you book something, you get there, you don't want to have any surprises. So that social proof seems to be very important. What else is there, Phil, from hotelier's point of view that they're really looking for that you as a business at Fuel help them with?
Right. So one of the things that we hear constantly is they want to know, when they spend $1 with us, are they going to get that back and more? And we focus all of our efforts on return on investment. Everything from SEO to PPC over to the meta searches. It's important to know where your marketing dollars are being spent, and I feel like that's one of the pain points of all the hotels that we work with is this worth the investment? If I give you this money to perform SEO services for us, am I getting something back out of it? And we all know how difficult that can be, but through our years of experience, we've developed some great best practices. Also staying on top of the algorithm changes, and we like to be able to make sure we're providing a return on investment in every facet of our marketing efforts.
What are the advantages of going with a company like yours that solely focuses on the hotel and hospitality industry versus your local SEO marketing specialist?
Well, that local SEO marketing specialist might seem better, more cost effective if you're looking at just your spend on the service itself. But what you get from us is a focus. I mean, we have been focusing on the hotel niche for years now. Fuel used to dabble in all kinds of verticals, but since we made the decision to move solely to hospitality-based marketing, we are extremely involved in it. We pay attention to industry trends from the obviously search marketing perspective, as well as the hotel industry trends. We have a team of people that are just dedicated to making the hotel marketing experience something that sets us apart from the experience you might have with your, local SEO down the street.
Mm-hmm. And what percentage, if you could throw out a rough number, if you know, of hotels actually use a hotel marketing service rather than an independent or trying to do it themselves?
From what I've noticed in the clients we've taken on, it seems about 50-50, and maybe even 33 between they've used the local SEO down the street, didn't have much success, so they came to us. We've had people come from other dedicated hotel marketing companies or hotel marketing agencies, and they weren't happy with that service, so they came to us. And then others, they're trying to do it in-house with no marketing expertise at all, and they just have somebody who they've tasked with this. Here's your social media marketing. Hey, can you, front desk manager, can you learn a little bit about SEO and help us with our website? We see a lot of that too. So I would say it's pretty even in the clients we've taken on over the past few years of where they're coming from.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about results, because ultimately it is all about the results. I know you've dealt with a lot of the big hotel chains as well as some of the independent ones. Is there anybody that really sticks out in your mind that came to you with a major problem? What were you able to do for them, and how did it help? And, what was the outcome for their business?
No, without giving a specific example, from pretty much across the board, when we take on clients, we're reducing that reliance on the online travel agency significantly. And sometimes, some instances by 50 to 75% of their business was coming from online travel agencies. Some even higher, like 85% booking through Expedia, booking through booking.com. And what we help them do is expand their marketing efforts and really reduce that percentage. We've brought some down to, as low as 10% of their bookings are coming from an online travel agency, and 90% are coming from the hotel website itself. And the real benefit to that is, well, A, you're not paying the commission to the online travel agency anymore, and B is you get to keep all the guest information and use that in future marketing efforts, like you're capturing an email address, so you can use that in your email marketing and hit them with emails throughout the year to bring them back. That works especially well in vacation markets. You're also able to use those email lists in your pay-per-click marketing. If someone's searching, say someone stayed at your hotel and you want to remarket to them in some other fashion, you can definitely use that there too.
Yeah, that's great that they don't have to pay that commission. But like you were explaining, I think the benefit of gathering that information is probably more important. Talk to me about social for a minute. Do you do much advertising on social, or which platforms do you use most to try and get traffic?
We do a bit of social marketing, and primarily it's on Facebook. And Facebook presents a difficult avenue, because when someone's scrolling through their Facebook feed, you're competing against their friends, their families, and their other interests while you're trying to sell them on a vacation they're not necessarily looking for. Obviously, you can use the interest-based targeting and things like that within Facebook, but we like to focus on Facebook. We also like to focus a bit, on Instagram, especially if you have a very photogenic property. If you can get your guest to tag you in that, it's more of a grassroots type thing than a paid type thing when it comes to Instagram. But that's another one. You can really show off the highlights of a hotel through Instagram.
Excellent. There's definitely lots of avenues. People love to see pictures of people having fun on vacation. So I know images are extremely important. Briefly touch on video before we have to bring this to a close. How important is getting video on the website?
I feel like video is equally as important as photography. If you can showcase, like it's a picture's worth 1,000 words. Well, video is worth 1,000 pictures, right? So I think video is, especially the drone footage we've been getting recently, to really highlight a property, really highlight what's going on around a hotel, especially, like I said, in vacation destinations. If you can show that pretty video of flying around the building, seeing the ocean after that, it almost puts the consumer right in that state of mind, like, oh, I could be right there right now, and it shows it off way better than a photo could, and definitely way better than words can.
Very compelling. Well, Phil, this has been great. If somebody wants to reach out to you and Fuel Travel, what is the best way for them to do that?
You can visit us on our website at fueltravel.com. We do host a weekly podcast. If you want to learn more about digital marketing in the hotel space, that's mostly what the podcast is focused on. We like to have a little fun there. Neil, we'd love to have you on at some point, so I'll have to reach back out and see if you want to join us. But you can reach us at fueltravel.com, fueltravel.com/podcast. And if you want to ask us about our services, info@fueltravel.com.
Excellent. Well, very insightful information there. I know there's lots of competition within the hotel and travel industry, so making sure that you have experts who know what is working and what is working today versus 5 years ago makes a big difference. So Phil Foriska, he is the marketing specialist at Fuel Travel based in Myrtle Beach. Thank you very much, Phil, for being my guest on the Trust Factor Radio today.
Thanks, Neil.
And to our listening audience, if you like what you hear, hit that like button and share, and we'll see you next time on the show.
You've been listening to the Trust Factor Radio with Neil Howe. To learn about the resources mentioned in the show and to listen to past episodes, go to thetrustfactorradio.com. To get a copy of the book, The Trust Factor, go to thetrustfactorbook.com. If you are ready to act now and build your authority, credibility, and trust, schedule a consultation with Neil at theauthorityarchitect.com.